Since their earliest years, Isla and Remy had always been inseparable. Growing up in a small countryside home surrounded by nature, their bond was something extraordinary, an unspoken connection that often made others marvel. As twins, they shared everything: their childhood dreams, laughter-filled adventures, and even moments of silent understanding. If Isla fell and scraped her knee, Remy would wince as though it had happened to her. If Remy felt anxious before a school performance, Isla would reassure her, feeling her twin's nervousness as her own. They were two parts of the same whole, perfectly attuned to one another. But as they grew older, their relationship began to shift in subtle ways neither of them fully understood. Isla, the quiet and introspective twin, found herself drawn to the unique boldness that defined Remy. While Remy was unafraid to express herself and push boundaries, Isla often marveled at her sister's courage from the sidelines. They had always been close, but lately, there was a lingering tension in the air during their quietest moments together, an intensity that went beyond their usual bond. Isla began to notice it in the way Remy's gaze lingered a bit too long, or how her touch seemed more deliberate. One quiet evening, the summer breeze drifted through their shared room, carrying with it the scent of lavender from their garden. Isla sat on her bed, flipping through a book, while Remy reclined against the windowsill, bathed in the soft glow of moonlight. The room was serene, yet charged with an unspoken energy. "Do you ever feel like we're different?" Remy asked suddenly, her voice breaking the stillness. Isla paused, looking up from her book. "Different how?" she asked cautiously, though her heart quickened as if anticipating what Remy might say. Remy hesitated, her usually bold demeanor softening. "I mean, the way we are with each other. I don't think most people are like us." Isla's breath caught. She had thought the same thing countless times, but had always pushed the idea away, afraid to name what she couldn't fully understand. "I don't know," she replied, her voice barely audible. "Maybe we are." Remy crossed the room and sat beside Isla, her presence warm and grounding. "I think about you constantly," Remy admitted, her voice trembling. "It's not just because we're sisters, it's something more. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it feels real." Isla felt a storm of emotions rising within her: confusion, fear, and something else she dared not name. She had always felt a pull toward Remy that went beyond their shared sibling bond, but she had buried those feelings deep, afraid to acknowledge them. I feel it too," she confessed at last, her voice barely a whisper. "But I don't know what it means." They sat in silence, the weight of their unspoken feelings filling the room. Remy reached out hesitantly, her fingers brushing against Isla's hand. The touch was simple, yet it sent a surge of warmth through Isla, as if their connection had found a new depth. Neither spoke, letting the silence carry their emotions in ways words could not. In the days that followed, Isla and Remy found themselves spending even more time together. They walked through the fields near their home, their conversations ranging from light-hearted jokes to deep, soul-bearing confessions. They sought refuge in the quiet corners of their garden, sitting beneath the shade of the oak tree where they had spent so many childhood afternoons. Their bond grew stronger, though it remained unspoken, as if putting it into words would make it too real. One weekend, when the rest of their family left for a short trip, the sisters had the house to themselves. They spent the day immersed in nostalgic activities, revisiting old photo albums, baking their mother's favorite recipes, and laughing over shared memories. That evening, they settled onto the living room couch, a movie playing softly in the background. Neither paid attention to the screen, their focus entirely on each other. "I can't stop thinking about you," Remy admitted suddenly, her voice breaking the comfortable silence. "It's like everything in my life points back to you." Isla's heart pounded as she turned to face her sister. "I feel the same," she said softly. "I don't know what it means, but I can't imagine my life without you." Remy reached for Isla's hand, intertwining their fingers. The warmth of her sister's touch was both comforting and electrifying. The quiet between them grew heavy, filled with emotions neither could fully articulate. It was a moment of raw honesty, a shared acknowledgement of their deep connection. As the days passed, the weight of their feelings became both a comfort and a challenge. Isla and Remy found solace in the hidden spaces of their home, where they could speak freely without fear of judgment. They stole quiet moments in the garden, exchanged meaningful glances across the dinner table, and found themselves drawn closer than ever before. But with their growing closeness came the realization that the world might not understand what they shared. One quiet evening, as twilight painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, Remy approached Isla in the garden. "Do you think it's wrong?" she asked, her voice steady but filled with uncertainty. Isla thought for a moment before replying. "It doesn't feel wrong," she said softly. "It feels like we're exactly where we're meant to be." Remy smiled, her confidence returning as she reached for Isla's hand. "Then let's not let anyone take this away from us," she said firmly. "Whatever happens, we'll face it together." In the stillness of the garden, surrounded by the whispers of the summer breeze, Isla and Remy found a quiet understanding. Their bond, though unconventional, was built on a foundation of love and trust that had carried them through every stage of life. As they stood hand in hand, they felt an unshakable certainty that, no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side. That night, the stillness of the house was interrupted by a soft knock on Isla's door. She sat up in bed, already sensing who it was. "Come in," she called quietly, her voice warm with familiarity. The door creaked open, and Remy stepped inside, her expression a mix of hesitancy and longing. "I couldn't sleep," Remy admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just wanted to be near you." Isla's heart softened at her words. She gestured for Remy to sit beside her, and the two sank into the bed, their shoulders brushing. The dim light from the lamp cast a gentle glow across the room, wrapping them in a cocoon of warmth and intimacy. Isla reached for Remy's hand, squeezing it gently. "I've missed you too," she admitted. "Sometimes I feel like I can only truly be myself when I'm with you." Remy smiled faintly, her fingers tracing small circles on Isla's palm. "It's strange, isn't it?" she said softly. "How being apart feels like something's missing, like we're incomplete." Isla nodded, her eyes locked on their joined hands. "I know what you mean. You're my home." The words hung in the air, weighty with unspoken meaning. Remy looked up, her gaze searching Isla's. "Do you ever feel like what we have is different? Like it's not something other people would understand?" Isla hesitated, her heart pounding. "I've thought about it," she said quietly. "But I don't know how to explain it. All I know is that it feels right." "You're the one person who truly sees me." Remy leaned closer, her forehead resting gently against Isla's. "Me too," she whispered. "It's like the rest of the world fades away when I'm with you." They stayed like that for a long moment, their breaths mingling in the quiet of the room. The connection between them felt unshakable, a bond forged through years of shared memories, challenges, and understanding. It wasn't something they needed to define, it simply was. As they lay back against the pillows, their conversation turned to lighter topics, childhood memories, inside jokes, and the dreams they once whispered to each other late at night. The room was filled with the sound of their laughter, a melody that felt like home. Every shared glance and smile carried a depth of emotion that words could never fully capture. When the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, Remy sighed contentedly. "Do you think we'll always have this?" she asked, her voice soft. Isla turned to her, a small smile playing on her lips. "As long as we have each other, I think we'll always be okay," she replied. "No matter what." Their bond, though unconventional, was a testament to the strength of their connection. It was a love built on trust, mutual understanding, and a shared history that bound them together. Though they knew the world might never understand, they also knew that their relationship was their own, sacred, unique, and unbreakable. In the weeks that followed, they found ways to spend quiet moments together, retreating to the garden to talk under the shade of their favorite tree or sharing secrets late into the night. They reveled in the simplicity of their bond, finding solace in the knowledge that they would always have each other to lean on. One evening, as they sat together on the porch, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Remy broke the silence. "Whatever happens in the future, promise me we'll always protect this," she said, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Isla reached for her hand, her fingers intertwining with Remy's. "I promise," she said firmly. "This is ours, and no one can take it away." The twilight deepened, and the sisters sat in comfortable silence, their hearts full of a love that needed no explanation. Though the path ahead might be uncertain, they knew they could face it together. In that moment, the rest of the world felt far away, leaving only the serenity of their connection and the unshakable certainty that they had found something rare and precious.